If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late-night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
I promise you, this is not a political podcast.
Jump from the deep into the pool, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. 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 Set up the mood.
Oh, yeah. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Testicles, 1, 2, testicles. Welcome back to Paranoid Radio Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Trebles Garcia, your humble host. I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to be here today, and I want to thank every single one of you for allowing me to enter your space. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, do not forget that the most important thing that you could do for the show today and tomorrow and the day after is word of mouth. Check out paranoidradio.com and check out the affiliations. And you know what? A lot of you, 2 of you actually told me, oh, you sold out, bro. You sold out. I'm not selling out, dude. We all got to freaking eat. But just to show you how much I'm not going to sell you out, selling out the show, I'm going to tell you this. Check out paranoidradio.com and just check out the affiliations. I'm not even going to mention their names. As a matter of fact, I really want you guys to go to Apple Podcasts and on Spotify and drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts because that allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Now, jumping in from the deep end of the pool and setting the fucking mood. Please give a warm welcome, returning special guest from the Occult Rejects podcast, Nick. What's up, Nick?
What's going on, brother? It's always great to be on, man. Always great to talk
That's
to you.
what's up, man.
Oh,
Yo,
yeah.
mad shout-outs to Teresa from Spiritual Gangsters podcast, Headless Giant. They were on the first time we met, and we had the privilege to speak with you guys.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Both Occult Rejects as well. I love being part of the team. Great people.
Yeah, man. They have an amazing following on X, formerly known as Twitter. If you guys heard of them, I'm pretty sure you heard of Teresa on the show before with the women episode. Make sure you check her out and follow her. Yo, Nick, where can people find you, bro?
The Occult Rejects on Twitter, Instagram, BitChute, Rumble, YouTube, and all major podcasts. And the occultresearchinstitute.org.
Oh, yeah. And all of those links are going to be in the description of this amazing episode. Now, also, I want to give a massive shout out to Flash for Flashy_News1. He's Flashstradamus, giving you flashcasts on the show. We're changing the tempo, and this is not a political podcast, but he'll be bringing new stuff that I will promote. And also Tank, my formerly best friend, and also he's still my best friend, but he formerly co-host. He is still on the show, but he's gonna be retiring sooner or later because he became the branch manager at his job. So it's taken about 12 to 16 hours a day for him to manage other people. So he won't be able to manage with us. So guys, and also mad prayers to my boy Joe Reezy from K4V3 and all his family. God bless you and your child and all your family members, bro. And whatever you touch becomes wealth, and that you are full of health. Now, Nick, thank you so much for being here today, bro. The last time you were here, you guys bombed it, bro. You guys came with bombs of knowledge, made those deposits, and it turned out that I became very good friends with your girl and with Teresa, and we had more deposits of knowledge into the bank. And today you're going to be bringing a very hardcore topic that you had on Catalyst show. Catalyst Jones from White Rabbit Podcast. He's the one that I heard that episode and it was amazing, by the way.
Yeah,
he killed it, bro.
He's a good dude too. Thank you. Catalyst Jones.
Mad shout out to the White Rabbit Podcast. Yo, you said, okay, black magic, and then, okay, start there, bro. I'm not even gonna I'm gonna let you take the creative direction on this.
All right. Well, I guess I'll start it off like I kind of started off this topic on everybody's channel like this, and we probably won't get into it today because that's a whole other topic in itself, the eyeballs. But before I go anywhere, I'm begging people who listen to the show, if you want to understand a lot of real occult symbolism and secrets of secrets in occultism, study the eyes, look at pictures of the eyes. You will start to see sigils and all sorts of stuff. But the eyes, how it works, is a huge huge thing in occultism, occult science at this point. And another thing that we'll be talking about today, another huge thing that really, and I'm telling people, like, please, like, take heed to this, because I'm not trying to do this for shock value, and I'm not making this up. When it comes to magic, some of the deepest secrets of secrets, and occult symbolism is actually about death and the visuals and the feelings that you'll experience when you die. Because when it comes to magic, if you want to play with magic, if you want to fuck with magic with a K, and you're doing it to have a spiritual experience, unfortunately, you're going to have to technically die to an extent. It's going to be something close to temporary suicide. You know, you have to separate the soul from the flesh. How are you going to have an experience in the spirit world when you're in the flesh?
Word.
You can't. You know, and then the thing is, that's something I just want to add too before we get into it. It sounds crazy. Maybe look into NDEs. Maybe that will make it a little bit easier to kind of understand. It sounds a little bit softer. But when it comes to death, I will tell you right now, these experiences, first off, every time I practice magic, it's the same visuals and the same feelings, one after the other. It always is a repeating thing that happens. And those feelings are the only time I have ever felt those feelings. It wasn't anything that was like, oh, I remember feeling this from that. Nope. It was a completely different set of feelings and experience that I've only had prior to a magical experience. So it's not even like something else that's happened to me before is happening. Completely different experience. And it's a huge thing with magic and occultism. In my opinion, well, one, I'm just going to keep it real. There's a lot of people out there, whatever, blogs, podcasts, it doesn't, whatever, in the public that talk about occultism. They haven't had this experience. So they're never going to be able to talk about it. And then unfortunately, due to that, you're not really going to understand some of the deepest secrets of secrets. But what I'm trying to get at is that, like, I guess you have a lot of people out there that haven't had this experience, so you don't hear about it a lot, but it is legit. The movie Flatliners is real. Like, that's just a cheat code. That's a way to cheat to knock yourself out in a hospital setting or a scientific setting. But to knock yourself out is to pull your plug out or ride the lightning is like, well, is needed to have a magical experience.
Ride the lightning.
I want people to really, I know that may sound crazy, that may sound off the wall. And again, I'm not doing it for shock value or clicks or to try to, get, I guess, known for saying something a little bit more extreme. But it's just the truth. And again, I'm saying it because a lot of other people aren't talking about it. There's people I know that are into occultism and into magic, and they're not talking about it for what reason. I don't know why, but I will. So I think it's something that we need to start talking about, because magic isn't just people playing with a talisman or a candle. And if you take into consideration what I'm saying about if you have to be okay with taking your own self out, when you have megalomaniacs out there trying to control the world, they'll have no problem killing somebody else because they kill themselves oftenly. Every time I want to fuck with magic, I have to understand I may not come back.
Holy snap.
You have to be that okay in your body to actually be like, you know what, all of this is worth giving up to have a second with God. To have that one moment with God is all of this isn't fucking worth it. I'll give it up for that shit. Everything. And yeah, it's the people with the candles and the talismans, that's a little different type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the shit that people don't talk about that's actually done in magic.
Two things. Riding the lightning. That would be a t-shirt, bro. That's hard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously I got it from Metallica, but I use that a lot because, like, this, and this is the reason why I say it. We'll get to the eyes real quick. When the sunlight comes in, the sunlight comes into your eyes. It does all this bouncing around, gets flipped around, all this other crazy stuff. But eventually when it goes and it makes its way off your lens and up the hyaloid canal and you get to the optic nerve, which if people are going to look at the eyeball, the optic nerve, the zonules, the zin, and the hyaloid canal are huge in occult symbolism. Please look at those things and learn how they work. But the optic nerve takes sunlight and converts it into electricity at that point. And that's what powers our brain and all the nerves and everything. So, I mean, technically, in my opinion, when it comes down to fucking with magic, you kind of take the lights out. You ever hear that saying, when somebody dies, you watch their lights go out? Well, that's going to happen to yourself. The light is going to actually get sucked into the back of your eye, and you're going to ride that shit up to your fucking brain and shoot your soul out the back of your head. So in a sense, when you're riding up the optic nerve, you're technically turning into electricity. So that's why I say ride the lightning.
Damn. Yo, that's deep, dog.
That's like even sometimes on my own show, I'll say that I'm skywalking on the back of a golden tarantula. You know, people, what the fuck is this dude talking about? Talking about the optic nerve, and inside your brain, over your brain, you even have an arachnoid layer. You know what I'm saying? It looks like spider webs, and your optic nerve can look like a spider. So these are ways that occultists say things that people don't understand and just think it's weird, or it's, oh, he said some poetic shit.
Word.
No, actually some real deep shit that the next motherfucker who fucks with magic will understand what I'm saying. And that they understand we may not be in the same club, but we're of the same understanding.
Mm-hmm. This is why they say, first, the light into lightning through your eye. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only transform. Then
Constant.
you said...
Constant.
Yeah. And then you said the poetic shit. Why do you think Salvador Dali and all those other artists created the masterpieces they did? Because first of all, they were the influencers over their time, and second, they were on that wavelength and that spectrum of thinking and fucking with that stuff. So that's why they were attached to that. They were able to manifest things like that, shit that we can't, understand or fathom.
I will even say too, and I swear, I mean this, and I swear to God, I'm not making shit up. After you have a magical experience, you're gonna be like Neo from the Matrix. You're gonna be like, oh my God, I know Kung Fu. You don't really know Kung Fu, but like, you're going to wake up, and I swear the fuck to God, you're gonna know things you never knew. You're gonna see visions in your head of things that maybe you didn't understand, and all of a sudden it's like somebody's coming in and making sense of all of it, and you almost, it's gonna sound crazy, you don't hear voices, but it's like you almost hear yourself telling yourself, like, this is this, and then you start to see things that never made sense make complete sense. And all of a sudden, it's just like you just start knowing things. I didn't start doing this podcast till after I fucked with magic, because I had to find something to do, or I was going to lose my mind and keep fucking with magic, honestly, because it's completely addictive, and I'll probably fry my brain out. So I had to find something to focus my everything going on in my head and all the energy, because that's another thing. You'll feel like an exploding battery. You're going to feel.
You need to put it into something. You need that outlet.
I had to create. I had to start creating.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. All these motherfuckers, not the pyramids, but like some of the crazy architecture we do have, those motherfuckers were all fucking with magic. That's exactly how they built that. Because they were probably a charged Energizer bunny for like a fucking week.
Talk about being.
You don't even have to give them meth. Just fuck with magic, and you don't need meth.
Word. That's crazy. Yeah, this is why they're also tapped into different types of architecture that use people's energy to amplify a message or a habit, or crazy.
I mean,
stuff,
that's even
man.
another thing too. From my experiences, I do think that you're actually tapping into like a overall consciousness, and I do think that's why you will have people understanding and knowing things in the past all over the world without talking to each other. It's because they're contacting the all that has everything in there.
Knowledge.
Yeah. So you could be in two different parts of the world and get the same idea.
What about emotion? Does it drive it?
Though that's the one thing, whenever I do cross the abyss, I mean, I probably should have started from the beginning, but I will say, like, once the magic happens, the only thing that first off, I go deaf, so there's like no sound. I only see. And the only thing I feel, first off, it feels like as I'm coming out of myself, it literally feels like I'm melting. Like it feels like I'm going weightless. And you can almost feel like it's something pouring off of you. And all of a sudden, this immense feeling, 1,000 times stronger than any love I've ever felt here, rushes over you. It's better than any fucking nut I've ever busted. Better than any fucking drug I've ever done. It's better than any feeling I've ever felt towards a family member, a wife, ex-wife, fucking friend, whatever. It was the most intense fucking feeling of love. And it just vibrates and radiates throughout me. And I just find myself, as crazy as it sounds, almost like I'm in a NASA picture. And it's like I just feel like I spread out as a fabric. Like I'm just part of the whole fucking experience. And I'm just like floating along with it. And all I do is feel love. And as soon as I start thinking about my fucking self, I fuck it up. Because now I'm disconnecting myself from the all. You know, as soon as I decide that I am someone and I'm separate from that experience, it's done. Because I'm part of everything at that moment.
Damn, that's fucking deep. Yo. I had a special guest on. She lives in San Diego. She's not a stripper. She does pole dancing. She's not a stripper. Whatever. Call it what you want. However, she had an out-of-body experience, and she didn't want to come back and tell me the rest of her story. And she told me exactly what you're talking about. She told me this. I'm going to send you that episode. She said that she had brain trauma through accidents, 3 of them, brain surgery, 3 of I don't know how the fuck she was talking regular. I'm going to hit her up and see if I could get her back on the show now.
Yeah.
And she mentioned to me that when she was having this outer body experience, she felt like she was in space, floating, part of the experience. Those were her exact words.
Yo, right
Crazy
here
stuff.
on my head, when it starts to happen, it literally feels like something is getting pulled out of the sides of your fucking head, and like you're just getting, it's so weird. Like you're spilling. It feels like you're spilling out into existence. It's fucking insane. And you right out the back of your head and on the sides. Like, no lie, every time I feel it, it's always where the Jew cap is. Which makes me wonder about that. Why is it in that same spot that I always feel like it's fucking... And if you think about it, if you want to shave a motherfucker's head and put that on his head, what does it look like from the back? A fucking pupil and a big eyeball.
Oh, snap. You're right. You're fucking right. Talk to me a little bit about the eyes. Okay, what the heck, bro? Now that you mentioned it, the pupil.
Yeah, the pupil, I mean, I believe that basically what happens, this is even another thing that's happened with me. This is what made me start looking into the eyes and everything. Whenever I fuck with magic, if I cross the abyss, it always happens. I can take myself very close to that. If I get into the whole scenario and how it goes, when I get to it, I'll explain this is where I normally stop. I normally bring myself very close to where certain things will change and I know I'm going to blast off. I'll bring myself to there and I can hold it for a while. And it's almost like a very deep meditation. And I will say I do get some sort of passion and inspiration and ideas from it. It's like a very, very deep meditation. And sometimes even from that, I will open up my eyes and my right pupil will be small and my left one will be fucking blown out, dude.
Holy crap.
And it's crazy. Think about that. If one's pinned and one's big, one's in flight mode and the other one's in fight mode. Just like Horus. Flying bird that fights, my man. The Aeon of Horus. My pupil will be about 2 millimeters big and the other one will be about 6 millimeters big. And when your pupil screws closed, it starts to pull light in.
Yeah.
Your pupil opens up like a cross, but screws closed 3 times. That's why I use that symbol a lot, actually, because I'm symbolizing the pupil screwing closed from 8 to 6 millimeters, 6 to 4 millimeters, and 4 to 2 millimeters. Sometimes if you see people throw up signs like that, it's because this is the Zaniel Zazin area that actually controls your other pupil to stay big or small. And if you keep it like that, it's obviously that one's open and this one's screwed closed. Or if you
numbers
sometimes throw up 17, shit like that. They're going back to eyeball shit.
And we're over here thinking it's only Freemason shit.
They use a lot of those symbols because it's an old, this is another thing. And I do want to, I'm not going to get into which ones and this and that, but something I do want to add when it comes down to, if this is all about changes going inside of our body and all about the experiences of death, you're going to have basic symbols. It's just some secret societies are going to keep on reusing ones from older ones and people start thinking, oh, that must be Freemason. No, this is a symbol explaining something that physically happens to somebody when they fuck with magic that's been going on before Freemasons existed. They just understand what it is. I mean, I myself, I throw up hand signs all the time on my own show because I know what the fuck it means and I want somebody else to see it and they'll be like, that motherfucker knows what's up. I'm just advertising that I fuck with magic. That's all I do. Even the occult art I have coming out. It's just to advertise to the real motherfuckers. I'm real. Because they'll know exactly what this art's about. They're going to know exactly what that fucking eclipse is.
I've seen many of those art depictions. I call them death emojis in cemeteries, on tombstones.
Yeah.
I've seen them. I've seen them. It's crazy stuff, especially those old tombstones that came with the Puritans. A lot of those old stuff, they call them Puritans, but I mean, some of them were corrupt, and a lot of the people on the cemeteries that would have all these different symbols, handshaking and stuff, throwing symbols, pointing down, doing different numbers. It's crazy, bro. Now that you mention it, it has a rooted deep in meaning. People say, "Oh yeah, that's pointing to God," and like, nah, bro. The fingers are pointed different. You're not pointing, different shapes in the fingers. Why two hands pointing up? It's different, So it has to do with the pupil.
Yeah, we'll
Occultism.
see. That's even another. I'm going to make this major. Well, I think that's what the black and white is on the checkerboard floor, is the pupil in the sclera, or the sclera, the white part of your eye. But unfortunately, it would be much more impressive if I brought pictures with me and actually got into it. But a lot of it, in my opinion, the lens is a huge thing, because the lens, once light hits the lens, that's where you kind of get your whole Baphomet situation going on too, because the light's hitting the lens and then flipping backwards into your eye.
That's above so within.
Your optic nerve looks like a big fucking dick hanging in the back of your eye. That's some of your phallic symbolism. It looks literally,
Word.
you took both of your eyes and looked at the optic nerves, it looks like fucking fangs. I've wondered if that's where they've gotten vampires from, because where the optic nerve sits is where the blood is in your eyeball. The front of your eye is water, and the back of your eyeball has blood.
I gotta see this. What are you talking about? What is it, bro? The optic? Okay.
Optic
I'm
nerve.
Googling it right now, dude. You can share screen if you want, bro. I could set that up for you too if you want to show some pictures. Holy snap. Where's my tools? Share screen opened, but I'm gonna Google it. What is it, bro?
If I could, the optic nerve.
Optic nerve.
And that's where sunlight changes into electricity, converts.
I didn't
Going
know
up that
this.
thing is called the inner robe of continence in the Kabbalah. That's where the orphanim starts to show up. That's where the Wheel of Fortune, in my opinion, is.
Explain that to me. The Wheel of Fortune?
Yeah, the symbolism. Because, again, unfortunately, I would have to show you, if you even found the right pictures. When you start looking at certain parts of the eyeball, you're going to be like, I've seen this in art and I've seen this on tarot.
You're gonna get me to go into a deep dive.
Dude, I did
the
5,
eyeball, bro.
I did 5 fucking episodes on that shit. You can either listen to our stuff, or I'll even send you folders of stuff to look at. Dude, I'm telling you, anybody, I could show you the birth of Venus is literally a depiction of the fucking eyeball. I could try to pull that up right now and actually.
Is this why the eyeball so freaking is used in everything? The Egyptians, all the ancient civilizations,
filled with it. That's all you're looking at, is the fucking eyeball in the Catholic Church. Dude, part of your Ora Serrata looks like a fucking seashell. And that's where the water part is of your eye. That's all you see is seashells and water and fucking. That's how you baptize, motherfuckers. You're baptizing people with seashells and water. And then when you go above the seashell, you got the fucking vitreous nerves and the hyaloid canal that looks like a fucking tree.
And there's seashells also on cemetery. I'm telling you, bro, you're freaking connecting dots, bro.
Dude, and then if you want to look at it, the seashell could be a flower petal upside down, sticking up like it fell. I mean, there's so many things you can start playing around with it that you'll be like, yo, I've seen this in art and never fucking realized. The birth of Venus is literally depicting an eyeball. It is
tapped into some higher level, some higher frequency knowledge, bro. The ancient world was filled with it.
I got a tattoo on my arm that I actually is totally, you can't see it. It's totally depicting an eyeball. It looks a lot like the birth of Venus. And I actually explained to the tattoo artist, I want this to be the pictures. This is the whatever, like they totally knew. I said, this is totally depicting an eyeball. I have my arm piece right here is an artistic version of an eyeball. And nobody would ever fucking know. But
nobody would ever know. Talk about occult. You're not a reject, bro. This is some deep level shit, man.
I know they don't talk
deepest
about
conversations.
this stuff, but I took like 3 to 4 years to do it, but I think it was just I wanted, I guess, like preface or whatever. It's kind of hard to jump into a topic like this straight off the bat. If I came out into podcasting talking about this shit and we've never talked before, you might be like, "Oh, this motherfucker's crazy." Like,
it does. It does take a level of conspiracy theorizing to also be open-minded. I've talked to people that are considered themselves conspiracy theorists, and then they want to shut the door. Everything. One thing is to be a Bible thumper, Like I believe in Jesus and everything, but like not giving. If you're gonna be having somebody on the show and then not let them speak and not amplify the message, it's knowledge, bro. We're not telling you that this is what it is. All we're telling you is hashtag look it up. Take 5 seconds of your life to go on a search bar and look that shit up for your goddamn self. Stop fucking death scrolling on TikTok and watching ass and go to the search bar and stop trying to be, spoon fed yourself on the information. Listening to podcasts like you just said right now, that's important. But the most qualifying and the most important thing to do, not only as a podcaster but as a human being, is to search up the things yourself. And then if you fill your head with knowledge, that's fucking crazy, dog. All right. Tell me about the eclipse.
All right. So, yeah. We'll get into, if you don't mind, I'll just tell you about the whole thing. I'll start from the meditation because, that's, how.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was going to ask you. Do you use any tools to get yourself right before the abyss?
That's another thing. I'm really glad you brought that up. All right. First off, this was right around pre-COVID. Right before COVID came, I started having magical experiences. And it wasn't, and I had stopped smoking weed, no lie, probably about 15, 17 years. And once COVID came, I was like, motherfuckers are acting crazy. I'm going to have to fucking walk into the supermarket stoned just to deal with this fucking insanity. So, like, I went back to smoking pot. I swear to God, I'm probably the only motherfucker out there that actually went back to doing, fucking pot because of COVID. But I literally was like, yo, I got to get
dude, you went to pot. I used coke and meth, bro.
Okay, all right.
I started the show on meth and shit.
I'm like, yo, I got to start smoking joints to even go fucking food shopping with these crazy motherfuckers around me with masks on. You could just feel the anxiety oozing out of people. I was like, I got to get high to go into fucking Stop and Shop. Yeah. So I wasn't smoking weed. I really didn't drink. So drugs was not a thing. I do like to make that, preface that. I've never been somebody to push drugs as needed, and I never needed them. What else was I going to say? All right, so there was
tools.
Tools. That's right. Another thing. All of the times I've had magical experiences, like what I'm going to explain today, every time this happens, it's the same visuals and the same feelings. Anytime I've ever had this, I've never even done a ritual. It's literally done by meditation.
Good to know. I was about to ask that stuff.
I do not think that shit's needed at all. I think it can help if you want to try to actually dissect what's being said and done. My opinion, I'm just going to throw this out there. This may sound crazy. I think a lot of the rituals, like the hexagram ritual and the pentagram ritual, maybe even the star ruby, that's just depicting the actual changes going on inside your eyeball. Because again, you're supposed to wear a black robe. You could be creating circle with a salt, but you're in your back robe and you're spinning around in a circle, basically going to each corner. How did I tell you the eye works before? Each corner pulls it open, and when you want to close it, you spin closed.
Bam.
So you're doing something at each of those corners as you're spinning closed as the black pupil. What you're doing is destroying the gods, holding it open from both directions. You're destroying them and screwing your fucking pupil closed. It's like you're destroying each fucking watchtower. And you're screwing the pupil closed more and more to pull the light into your eye and shoot it up the back of your head. And if you're lucky and you have blue eyes, you'll do it more than the average person too.
Oh, snap.
And that was up with Hitler.
What do you mean?
He wanted blue-eyed motherfuckers.
Get the fuck out. Shut the front door. And he surrounded himself with mediums and other people.
Or people that would have better chances at sucking light into their eye.
Yeah. This is why he was obsessed with relics. Holy fuck.
Dude, he was a mad occultist, dude. That dude knew what the fuck. Again, even this cocksucker has taken a symbol that I see every time I fuck with magic and has made it something horrific.
Yeah. Shifted it.
That shows you what fucking power that motherfucker had. He took a beautiful image that everybody knows when they fucked with magic and perverted it in this world to where you can't even fucking play with it or people will think you're fucked up. That is a gangster fucked up move, tell you the truth.
Damn.
Think about that. I just took a major symbol that everybody could use when they cross the abyss, and I'm going to fuck it up. You can never use it, or people will think you're a Nazi now.
Why?
Why? Because he could. Probably. That's it. Motherfucker was crazy. You fuck with magic too much, you'll end up like Kanye West or Joe Biden. You know, you'll end up fucking a mush. You'll end up fucking retarded. Yeah. You'll end up be drooling on yourself, or you'll be showing up with orange fucking ski masks on and hats and doing crazy, stupid shit.
That's insane, dude.
Yeah,
that's heavy.
I'll get into all right. So the eclipse. All right. So again, no rituals ever needed. I never did any rituals. I never did drugs. I was always sober. I would sit in a chair with a flat back. So my back would be flat. I'd try to keep my head straight. And I'd put my hands like this right down on my legs and just keep it straight. It's called the God pose, actually. And it's in a book called Liber E by Aleister Crowley. There's like 3 or 4 different like suggested poses you can do when you meditate. This is the easiest one, so I rocked it for years. It worked for me. It worked for me. So basically, I would sit in that, and sometimes my normal practice is when I go to meditate, as cheesy as it is, I'll picture a light coming in through the top of my body, and I'll try to like focus it going down and going through my legs and going into the ground. I'll do that over and over and over again. I could do that for 10 minutes or go up the other way and go back in the up and down. But believe it or not, at some point when I'm visualizing this, I swear to God, I start to actually feel like heat where I'm visualizing the white light. So once I get to that point, I realize, okay, I think I'm like kind of in tune. I can feel my body. I know what's going on. I'll go into chakras and I'll start feeling my chakras, and I'll go up and down and I'll just press on them and stuff. There was one time when I noticed, I mean, I don't know if people play with their chakras or do chakra work. It sounds crazy to me. And I was like, yo, you're a woo-woo motherfucker. But in my opinion, I do feel them. And I know other people say that too, so maybe they hear me, they understand what I'm getting at. But it almost feels like little spinning balls or a fucking Tasmanian devil or something, spinning around like crazy. And so I remember one time that if I pushed on my forehead where the third eye one was, when I'm feeling it, when I had my eyes closed, I remember like it almost made it like darker than it was, which I thought was weird. So I was sitting in the chair, and I was like, I'm going to fucking push on this motherfucker. And it starts like it will get darker than normal. And like if you've had your eyes closed for 20, 30 minutes, for people who meditate, it's going to be dark. When you first close your eyes, it kind of is. But like I just feel like as the deeper you meditate or the longer you meditate, I mean, it gets black. So it would start looking like I was pressing on it really hard. And then all of a sudden it just started looking like, this is one of the ways I explain it. If I had a black desk, a black table, and I looked down and blew on it, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't realize it was dusty because it looks so black that like stuff blows away and it looks even darker underneath. Or like oil coming out of something, but darker than the black that it's on. And it will look like it has like around it just like these weird squiggly lines of like an oil slick in a road. When you see like a rainbow kind of like crazy colors around like the water, you will see that around the blackness spreading, but it looks like burning, like bright lasers, like light, like almost, I've even said it almost looks like thermal imaging, but slices of it, like just very bright burning colors. And it all starts to go away and it's completely black. Sometimes it'll start to almost look like like black waves, like you're looking at a black pool or something. And you'll see it looks like just waves.
In and out of colors.
And it's just black and like white. My opinion, and it's going to sound deep. My opinion, I'm wondering if there's some sort of light flashing on something to give the illusion that it's a wave. Because you just need a black wall and you could fuck with white light in a certain way and make it look like it's a wave and you're actually not doing anything. You know what I'm saying? There's no wave there. But like it will start to look like black water. It looked a lot like what I would see in Stranger Things, the last season. Mm-hmm. When Eleven was in that room, I was like, yo, that's exactly what the fucking water would look like. And then all of a sudden it'd be like fucking like silent and still. And then I start to see this little ball, this little white dot start to show up. And it's like this burning fucking star in the sky, this little burning dot. And you will see like almost these curvature drawings. It's kind of like and this is another thing too. These experiences that I see, I may have to give a lot of things to try to give you the idea, because I don't know how to actually explain this in my language. Maybe in other languages it's easier, but there's just certain things in these experiences. There's no words for me to try to tell you what I saw. It's as if maybe you were starting to draw outlines on a piece of paper to draw like a cloud, but like all you did was actually take the lines that you drew and just like added that into like the blackness, and like the burning white light would kind of give off a little bit of a glow, and it would make it look like there's maybe like clouds around it, or all these little curvatures, like half circles. It's just weird. It looks like, clouds or whatever, in this burning light, and it almost looks like 3D though. Like if you've ever had a viewfinder as a kid and you put those things in and you flick the shit, it kind of looks like that, the 3D layering, how it just looks like these real thin layers of shit behind the burning white dot, dude. And the crazy thing is what's nuts. You'll see this in your fucking head with your eyes closed, and you swear you can see depth. It's like fucking insane. It's like you're
looking through dimensions,
dude. It's
looking through dimensions.
Insane. And all of a sudden it starts to come closer. It starts to get closer and closer, and it starts to get a little bit bigger. And then all of a sudden you see all this black stuff start to swirl around and turns into the black circle, which is now in front of the white dot. So now it's an eclipse, small little eclipse. And it starts to get a little bit closer and closer in my eyesight. And then all of a sudden you start to see these explosions look like around the eclipse. And again, it has all those things I said that kind of made it look like cloud curves and stuff. You'll have that still there, but now you'll have these explosions of light, which almost starts or these splashes of colors, which makes it look now like explosions because of that detailed shit that's in there. So you start seeing all that, yellow, kind of reddish, all this stuff like around the outside of it. And then all of a sudden it goes straight to like pure red. Now, if you look at my logo is roses around an eclipse, because now once they start bursting in red, to me, they look like roses bursting open around the eclipse. So my art, anybody who's had that vision before will see my art and be like, I know what he's talking about. I've seen that when I fuck with him. I've
seen that.
But he's just showing roses instead of explosions. Somebody's gonna, people know what the fuck's up with that. So, it starts to look like roses bursting around the eclipse, which is another thing, in my honest opinion, from my experience, and from my co-host Lisa going down to the library in Austin and actually taking out Aleister Crowley's handwritten notes, fucking from his hands to paper, his notes for the vision and the voice, he uses the word rose when he's not talking about his girl. You will see him doing gematria in there. You will see him fucking around with the word and figuring out how to fit it into his sentence. That rose is not always his bitch. He's not talking about Edith. In my opinion, he's talking about the fucking roses bursting around the eclipse. There's even Rosicrucians. Something up with that fucking rose, my man. That's going to be one of the many symbols you're going to see before you fucking die. So you start seeing that. Is this something you wanted to ask first before I go into the...
Two things before they slip my mind. Fuck! One slipped. Shit!
I knew it. You said that. I was like, he's going to lose one thinking of the other one.
I knew. Thinking of the other one. I hate when that happens. Crap.
Oh, think about that. Let me just grab
the way you're visualizing. Go for it. And this episode is brought to you by ParanormalRadio.com and Occult Legends Podcast.
What'd you say?
The way I was visualizing, I love visualizing when people are telling me a story because it makes me get into it, the story, and then give a real resonating reaction. You said the flavors, the waves, it kind of reminds me of the darkness of the Pink Floyd logo. And then when I thought of that, it jumped into Ratatouille. Have you ever seen that movie, Ratatouille?
Parts of it, small parts of it.
There's a part where the rat teaches the other little rats in his family, because all the other rats are dumb. They're just eating out of the dumpster. But this smart rat eats off the dumpster behind the restaurant because it could eat cheese, berries, all the good stuff, right? Not just shit that's rotten. So he gets a piece of food and he puts, look, try this combination. He puts cheese in his mouth and then thinks like a strawberry, I think, or something. Now chew it all together and watch what it does to your brain. And he's like, he starts eating, and then his brain goes into like a vision in the movie where everything turns black and all those waves or colors are hitting, like Euphoria. It's freaking cool, bro. So I was thinking of that. Like, I know it sounds childish, but
no, they might actually hear something kind of maybe close to that still coming up too.
And you said it goes silent, it goes dark, and then all you hear is like the feeling of it. Another thing, this is it right here. The thing that I forgot came back. I've seen this before, and I think people are manipulating it and using it in different ways. One of them, and I'm not trying to bash on anybody's religion here or customs and habits. And if it makes you happy, by all means, do what you want. However, I've seen some Protestant churches get these people in this trance using the music and emotional manipulation. And when they hit the tip of just with olive oil, they hit the freaking third eye, these people, they sleep, they go to sleep, and it's really happening to them. It's not an act.
A lot of times when people get anything put down on themselves, it's always on the fucking third eye.
Oh, it's always on the fucking forehead.
Even what, the women that put dots, where is it? On the third eye. Something up with that spot. Even when I was in the OTO, they would put that stuff on your third eye.
Yo, we're 45 minutes in.
All right. Oh, all right.
And
I'll hurry up. I'll try to speed it up a little bit. Sorry about that.
Let's handle it, brother.
All right. So now, after these explosions, from the 4 cardinal directions, I normally start getting colors of light, these lines of light, and it's always going to be red, blue, purple, and green. It's only those colors, really, from what I remember. And it's like it comes out from both sides, all 4 sides, and starts to spin. And so now you start getting a symbol that looks a lot like a swastika. And then all the lines start like, it starts to almost look like a camera, the way a camera will screw closed, just like your pupil. Well, it's like it's reverberating and spinning and coming out towards me. Some people will call that the Rainbow Bridge. And it's these burning, bright lines just spiraling. And it's almost like just vibrating past you. That will go on for a while. And then all of a sudden, that will just like disappear. And you start getting like, people will call sacred geometry. You start getting like all those fucking symbols like spinning and flashing and like flying towards me from like the eclipse. And then I don't know if you've seen the thing I've used recently, that logo that looks like movie reels coming out of an eclipse. Mario from Symbolic Studies designed that logo for us. Amazing work. Then that kicks in, where all of a sudden all that stuff stops, and I have this eclipse. And then from each side of it will start to look like, and the only way I can explain it, I have 2 ways that I try to do it. Either movie reels starting to come out where you're getting these rectangular cutouts of like cells or windows showing you different scenes on each side.
You're hopping dimensions, bro. You're hopping timelines.
On each side, you start seeing these things coming by, and they look like sepia-colored cellophane windows. And I have heard John Lennon and Lana Del Rey talk about cellophane skies. So I'm wondering, are they talking about the same image that I've seen?
How do you spell that? Cellophane?
Yes. As Cellophane. Cellophane. You will get Lucy in Sky with Diamonds. He talks about cellophane sky. I was like, yo, that's exactly what these things look like. It looks like you took sepia cellophane from like a cigarette pack, and it's a window. Or what I would say, instead of movie reels, if I was sitting in a train station and I had trains coming at me on both sides but going really slow, and I was looking into each window on those boxcars, it looks like a different time, space. I don't know where the fuck it is, but it's all different scenes. And it just starts to slowly go by. Normally, I'll see them, but not really paying much mind to it. One time, for some reason, I seemed interested. And I kind of just thought, like a small thought in my head, which is normally doesn't happen when I'm seeing this. It was like, I wonder what's over there. And it's like literally as if, like, again, I don't have my body in these things. It's just, I'm just visualizing all this. It's as if I hovered forward and like kind of turned to view the window. Mm-hmm. And I stopped and looked at it, and like, to me, it looked like either Arizona or a nuclear fallout. I couldn't tell what the fuck it was. It just looked like a desert.
It looks the same.
Yeah. And I'm just like,
Arizona.
For me, for some reason, I had this feeling that it didn't look like somewhere I wanted to go. And then I started to think about it, and I woke up. Because again, I started thinking too much.
You started thinking too hard and you pulled yourself away from source.
So now any other time, that's the only time that's ever happened. Normally those things will go and they'll keep going. And then
What were the 3 colors you said? You mentioned 3 colors?
Oh no, 4. The 4 colors that I normally only see, I mean, I guess sepia again. Well, when the things are spinning out, I'm only seeing like fluorescent, like purple, blue, red, and green.
Those were the same colors used in 1990 big screen TVs. The big old box screen TVs. You remember those?
Yes.
I remember
yes.
when my father had one. I would try to like duck in the back to see what it had in the back, and it was these big old like camera looking lenses that would throw those same colors onto the screen, and it would project what you would watch from the outside of the TV. Crazy stuff. Just
Yeah,
transforming light and frequency.
Even in the back of our eyeballs, we have red, blue, and green rods, and that's what determines like how we see light and shit too.
Red,
So
blue,
I'm even wondering, like, again, if this is going down the pupil, or my, who knows why I'm seeing those colors, but it is interesting that those colors exist in the back of our eye. But so all right, those cellophane skies, whatever, they start to disappear, and then all of a sudden the black sphere starts to pull away from the white bowl, like the white one. And you literally see the black one rising. And it's like almost the opposite of how an eclipse or a moon would wax and wane. It's like opposite. As soon as it starts to lift up a little bit, it looks exactly like Thoth's fucking headdress. That crescent sign with a sphere on top of it. And then it starts to pull up even more. It's so crazy. It almost looks like a circular eyeball opening up. Because then you start getting like this half circle. And then it just like lifts up and disappears. And all you see is this white light. And it's like looking down the barrel of the gun and pulling the trigger. This fucking thing comes flying at you, and you literally feel like something like almost hits you or cracks here. And then it's like you just feel yourself dissipating out of the top of your fucking head. And like before all that happens, when I start seeing like the movie reels and stuff, I'll start to feel like I'll start to get like a funny feeling in my feet. And like a tingling feeling, it will start rising up. Like, let's say if it rose up to my knee, everything below my knee is gone. It like literally feels like the energy or just whatever is there is gone and it doesn't exist. And it starts to rise up to like around my hip or my chest. And then almost starts to feel like it's crazy. If I was laying on a beach and the waves crashed and it was just rolling up the sand now, like if somehow my feet were like cut open and like the water could just go through my body. It literally feels like you feel the stream literally flowing through me. And then all of a sudden, everything starts to go up here. I feel that crack. And the crazy thing is, this is another thing, and I've even talked to Mario about this, and we're starting to wonder about like the whole polarity change and the Archer symbolism. I'm pushing hard as fuck on my pineal gland when this is all happening. I'm still holding that thing, like I said. I'm pushing on my pineal gland through this whole process. All of a sudden, at that one ending point, when everything feels like it starts rushing up in here, it feels like something snaps and it fucking flies back. It's as if polarity changed or the archer shot himself in the head. Because there is people making depictions of archers actually doing it backwards. David Bowie's done that. And he was fucking occultist shit. You know, so I've even said it's like literally you're pushing as hard as you can to hold that motherfucker, and then all of a sudden something snaps, and you pushing hard as hell equals fucking flying back at you.
I have to bring this episode to a close, but I'm gonna give you the next question I was gonna give, and then we're gonna leave it on a cliffhanger. How would you use this in your personal life, and what growth does it bring to you? Can you manipulate? Can you manifest? Can you control others' emotions and powers and thoughts and habits? All of these questions were up next, but we can't there's more into it. Dude, first of all, thank you for bringing this portion of the show. We are gonna book a second one, bro. I don't care. I'm gonna have to
let me know. Whatever, man. I got you. I got it at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'll do it, man.
And I need you to please let the world know where they can find you one more time.
Yes, I got the occult rejects. That's compromised of probably about 8 to 10 different people, so it's not just going to be me. And that is on BitChute, Rumble, YouTube, and all major podcasts.
That is right.
OccultResearchInstitute.org.
Oh, yeah. And if you didn't catch that, catch it in the description of the show and also on the drop-down menu of paranoidradio.com. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much, Nick, for being here. Make sure you check him out at the Occult Rejects podcast. And check out Teresa from Spiritual Gangsters and Headless Giant, also on Twitter, now known as X. Make sure you drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. That allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Peace out. Thank you again, bro.
Paranoid Radio.